Hey everybody, Six Nails here. We have a few things that I would like to talk about today. So first thing is I want to go over the current standings. Second thing I want to go over is adding a new theme to the theme wheel for next season. And lastly, I want to go over the bracket system and have a discussion with the community about what power level we all want to play in the Budget League. So right now, me, Hurax, and Advent all have 1 point. And somehow, we all dropped the ball and let Mista, our league champion, get 4 league points. He is 3 away from winning the whole season. So let's work together and make sure we don't let him run away with it. Next, let's talk about adding a theme to the theme wheel. So I want this to be a community discussion. I don't want to always choose the theme. I kind of want to be more of a guardrail to make sure that the themes are appropriate. So, when choosing a theme, give me some ideas on what you would like to see, so that way we have something to work with. The only thing that I ask is make sure whatever theme you suggest falls within the rules of Commander. Let's not have anything like illegal cards, or have an artifact as your commander, something along those lines. Let's make sure that when we build these decks, you can take it to an LGS and don't need to have a Rule 0 conversation to allow it. Oh, and let's make sure that there are going to be enough commanders in the command pool so that way we can all choose something different. Like, let's not have something where we all have to play a Tolsimir, because there's not enough Tolsimirs, unfortunately, to go around. Now, when it comes to theme restrictions, they kind of fall into one of 2 buckets. One is going to be restricting the commander itself. So certain ideas of that would be like the commander can't have the letter F anywhere in it, the power and toughness can't be the same, the card number from its set can't have the number 7, you can't have a certain artist. Certain ideas like that we could do. Now if you're limiting the commander, just keep in mind that the power level is going to be higher than the other bucket, which is deck restrictions. So right now on the wheel, we only have one theme that restricts the deck itself. So that's going to be the one where we all have to build with cards from a single plane. That's going to be a much harder build, but it's also going to lower the power. You're going to see way jankier things because you just have access to a lot less of the staples that we have been seeing in the league. So certain deck restrictions would be like every card has to have flavor text, no card can have an even number anywhere on it. Things like that, whatever you guys can think of. Now, if you want to see a jankier league, suggest things like that. If you like what we're doing right now, then suggest commander restrictions that are less limiting instead of more limiting. But whatever you guys suggest, I can kind of get a feel for the room and start picking things from that, and then we'll have a community vote at the end of the day on which one goes into the wheel that could potentially be picked for Season 4. So let's work together, have a discussion. I think it'll be a fun thing to talk about, and we can get going on that. And finally, let's talk about this news of commander brackets and how that might potentially affect the league. Now, the first question is, what bracket is a Budget League deck trying to play in? Now, there are 5 brackets, in case you guys didn't know. They broke it up into 5 different sections. 1 through 5, 5 being the strongest. So 5 is CEDH. We are not playing CEDH, so we can cross that right off the list. 4 is optimized, and I hate to break it to you, we're not playing optimized either, so that we can cross that right off the list. So that leaves us with 3 possible tiers. Tier 3 is upgraded, so beyond the strength of an average precon deck. 2 is core, the average current pre-constructed deck. And 1 is Exhibition, which is your ultra casual commander deck. And those descriptions are on the Magic website. That's not me making that up. That's how they label their own tiers. So tier 1 is Exhibition. And in my opinion, this shouldn't even be a tier. This should be knocked right off the bracket list. The reason why is because I happen to be playing a lot of decks that are super casual exhibition type decks. Now, Gavin Verhey cited Oops All Horses as an example of one of these decks, and I'd be willing to bet that if you went on EDH Rec and looked at an Oops All Horses deck, they would have a ton of game changers. And the reason why is because nobody cares that you built a cutesy deck. The only time people care is if you built a cutesy deck and are able to win with it. No one has ever been impressed that I put together a Boros Graveyard Recursion deck. They're impressed that I beat you with a Boros Graveyard Recursion deck, and the reason why I'm beating you is because I'm playing powerful cards. Funny enough, that one deck only has a Smothering type, but it's also a $1,000 deck because I'm running Wheel of Fortune and Dual Lands and a bunch of other crazy powerful cards that happen to not be game changers for whatever reason. But that's the only reason why it's impressive. Why is Exhibition here? Who's it for? I don't understand. If you are in a play group when you're all playing really, really out there ideas that have no power whatsoever and no one's remotely trying to win, then you don't need to have a Rule Zero conversation. And if you put together Oops All Horses and you're going to your LGS or Magic Fest, you're going on Spell Table, what are you thinking? What do you expect? You're gonna get destroyed. So you have to have that mindset of I'm gonna lose every game because I like playing horses so much. And if that's you, that's great, but you can't be Oops All Horses and then expected everyone in the world to play Oops All Horses. It doesn't make any sense to me. Get rid of that. It needs to go. It's not helping anybody. That's a hardcore Rule Zero conversation, and just keep it at that. So that leaves us with 2 brackets left. Bracket 2, which is core, and bracket 3, which is upgraded. Now in those 2 brackets, there are rules that coincide with them. Not for the Budget League, but for the brackets themselves. No chaining extra turns, which is fine, because you can't really do that in Budget League anyways. Those cards are too expensive, you wouldn't be able to fit it in your deck. Not worried about that. Now the rules that do give me pause with brackets 2 and 3 is no mass land denial and no 2-card infinite combos. And the reason why is because that is possible to do in the Budget League. And those are both 2 strategies that elicit strong emotions from the player base. So let's start this conversation off with combos. I feel like it's a little bit of an easier thing to wrap my head around, at least. Combos are something that a lot of people don't like. If you spend any time on Spell Table, there's usually multiple servers that say no combos, no infinites. People do not like them, but that being said, they are a part of Magic, and they're a big part of Magic. Combo decks are here to stay, and that goes with the Budget League as well. I understand why people don't like them, and to be honest, I don't like them either. I know that this season I am playing a combo deck, but I have yet to hit the combo because it's like 5 different pieces that I have to put together, and it's like super, super impractical. But the combos are there in Amanatu, so definitely be aware if you didn't know that, if you're playing against me, that's something I could do. It's just hard for me to do it. But our league champion has won a few games this season with his combos, and I think that's fine. I think it's okay to have that. Now, if people disagree with me, what I would suggest, I'm not putting it in writing right now, but let me know how you guys feel about it. What I would suggest is that we could kind of alleviate that by, if you have combos in a deck, that you just need to make that publicly known. Maybe we could have like a Discord channel that will say, hey, Mista has this combo in his Saheeli deck, and it has Tidespout Tyrant and then whatever else in it. So that way at least we know that if he's casting Tidespout or Tidespouts on the field, that we need to do something about it because that's his combo piece. And if we have a rule like that, combos are going to quickly fall apart because we are all going to be aware. You're not going to be able to sneak one by us. I don't think, and I could be dead wrong on this one and I'm not going to look it up, but I don't think there's any combos in the $30 budget range that have to be acted on the stack, or they have to be dealt with while they're on the stack. If that's the case, that's something I could see us banning. If you have a Thassa's Oracle Demonic Consultation and the only way I could stop it is with a counterspell and I'm playing Gruul, yeah, that's kind of a bummer. So something like that, I'd be more inclined to say don't do that. It has to be sorcery speed or something that could be interacted with. I think that's more fair. Just spitballing ideas. That's just what's coming to my head anyways. That's how I feel about combos. This is a community-driven effort. If you guys aren't having fun, there is no league. So let me know how you feel about combos specifically, because this is like of everything here, this is probably the meat and potatoes discussion that we need to talk about, if anything needs to be discussed. The other thing is no mass land denial. For me personally, I'm okay with that. I'm okay with saying no mass land denial. But it's one thing for me to say it, and that's what I want to see in my playgroup. It's another thing for me to restrict that. I don't know if there's any fans of that out there. If no one likes it, then maybe we just put that in as a rule. Don't mess with people's lands. We're playing in brackets 2 and 3, so we're not expecting a blood moon or anything like that. On the other hand, it is a strategy, and all because I don't like that strategy, does that mean everyone else doesn't? Like, there are lots of strategies people don't like. People don't like mill. Should we ban mill? I don't think so. People don't like poison. Should we ban poison? I mean, I have a poison deck, so obviously I don't think so. I think they're all valid strategies. They're just frustrating when you aren't prepared for them. And if your deck's not prepared, that might be a issue of the person that built it more than it is of the strategy that's taking advantage of it. Unfortunately, I don't know how a nicer way of putting it, but if you don't run interaction in your deck, know that you might be in trouble, right? Like if you're playing a graveyard deck and someone plays a card that nullifies your graveyard, do we ban that card? No, of course not. You're kind of expecting it. But graveyard decks are very powerful and they need that. But for some reason that gets a pass, but other things don't. I don't know. The worst part of Magic the Gathering, funny enough, is the gathering. The community needs to get its stuff together. That's why we even need this bracket system to begin with. But yeah, that's how I feel about those things. Let me know, especially with the combos. That's such a weird, I don't know, it's just a weird social thing that Commander has going on where people just hate it. So let's have a discussion about that. This is how I feel about it. So that's me discussing it. Let me know what you all think. Until then, let's try to get some more wins on the board. Let's try to stop Mista. Let's have a good time and get after it.